Session 2, The Wilderness School. If you remember, at the end of last week, the Creator-Liberator went to work on the plan. You might remember God's first step was to lead the child people into the wilderness. That precarious land would become God's classroom, the place where the people would learn how to live. So here we are in the wilderness school. When would wilderness instruction first begin? How would it begin? God, the teacher, waited and waited for the teachable moment, a moment which came when the people grumbled about food. Yahweh responded by showering them with some edible substance called, what is it? Or manna. The way God gave the manna and the way the people gathered it and shared it taught the people how to live as a special people on this earth. Here is what they learned. All food is God's. In fact, everything is God's. We own nothing. We can trust God for daily bread. Work is the dignified activity of helping God meet the needs of all people. God gives daily food, so hoarding is unnecessary. Food is for all, not just the big deals or the deserving. God gives enough. All can therefore live in sufficiency with neither too much nor too little. Lesson 1. God taught the second lesson when some of the people decided to hoard manna. Evidently, they were attracted to the old Pharaoh's Egypt belief that having a pile of manna makes one a big deal and brings happiness. Their hoarded manna grew maggots and spoiled. Lesson 2, hoarding stinks. The Pharaoh's Egypt way, accumulating or piling up, brings rot, decay, and death. Yahweh, the Creator and Liberator and Teacher, had one more great lesson to share with the students of the wilderness school, the meaning of Sabbath. Yahweh wanted the partner people to receive this beautiful gift of rest and refreshment, this gift of time to fully enjoy what life is all about, friendship with God and others and nature. So lesson 3 was the gift of Sabbath. Humans do not have to work every day to receive and distribute God's manna. The extra time is a beautiful gift of God, which makes it possible for humans and animals and earth to rest. Sabbath allows humans to experience full time the wonder of friendship with God and with others and with all creation. Yahweh asked the people to carry a jar of manna with them and to keep the jar when they settled down. This precious jar of manna would remind them of the lessons they had learned in the wilderness school. Remember, these lessons are: we own nothing, God gives enough for all, to be shared by all, hoarding causes rot, work is helping distribute God's manna, and God gives rest so humans can practice full-time what life is all about. So God poured out manna day after day, dreaming of a universal manna society, a world where all receive, thank, and share. Yahweh dreamed of a world where there are no big deals and little deals, no rich and poor, no oppressors and oppressed, where humans live in harmony with creation, each part living for the good of the whole. Yahweh dreamed of Shalom, a mended universe. God promised to bring the wilderness people to another form of manna called land. This land would be home. Here they would plow and plant and harvest. Here they would raise their children, keep the Sabbath, and celebrate the great festivals. Yahweh was glad, but also worried about the day when this promise would come true. Would a landed people become like Pharaoh's Egypt, with big deals and little deals, rich and poor, oppressors and oppressed? Yahweh brooded and then came up with a plan. I will bind myself to this people in covenant partnership. We will be attached to each other. We will be lovers, partners, friends forever. What a day it was when the covenant-making ceremony took place at a mountain called Sinai. It was like a grand wedding. In the midst of lightning and thunder, smoke and trumpet sounds, God made the covenant promise. Yahweh would be this people's God and would adopt them as a holy nation. In gratitude, the people would love God alone with heart and soul and strength. On that special day, God gave the partnered people a beautiful gift, the covenant word. The gift described the blessed way the people would live because God loved them, liberated them, and promised to be their God. The gift showed them how to live as joyful Manna people on the land. When the great covenant-making ceremony was over, the people went back to their classes in the wilderness school. There, Moses taught them the details of the Torah, including the many ways to practice manna living. The Torah taught them practical things like farming, animal care, sharing, balance, and Sabbath. The wilderness school continued. Their learning continued. After many years in the wilderness school, quite a time hop here, and after failing many exams, God's partner people were ready for graduation, entry into the land where they would live the way they had learned in the wilderness. As they approached the boundary, God's heart was glad. Yahweh believed that these people would live differently from other nations. God dreamed of the result. All the nations on earth, attracted by the witness of these people, would gather to learn the manna way. God and humans and nature living together in peace. God looked at planet Earth and cried out, "There is hope. My dream will come true. My promise is unfolding." The graduation ceremony took place at the boundary on the east side of the Jordan River. Moses delivered a powerful commencement address. He reminded the people of God's wonderful acts on their behalf. He pleaded with the people to remember God's love and the lessons Yahweh had taught them. Moses urged them to respond by living as a wilderness people, even when they became landed. After Moses conferred the diplomas, he sang a beautiful song of praise, and then he climbed Mount Nebo and looked at the promised land. There he died, never to enter the land himself. Before he died, Moses blessed the people and prayed they would never forget how God had liberated them and made the covenant promise with them. He prayed they would never reject the manna way, the beautiful life of the covenant gift. Joshua, Moses' successor, led the people over the Jordan River and into the promised land. The people carried a box with them which contained the jar of manna and the stone tablets, the covenant gift. The people looked at the box and remembered the lessons they had learned in the wilderness. The Manna people lived on the land of their inheritance in simplicity and equality. The people also told tales of how their ancestors ended up in Pharaoh's Egypt, how they were liberated, and how they wandered in the wilderness. Story was added to story, and the stories did what Yahweh hoped they would do. They reminded the people again and again what God is like, righteous and merciful. Their wonderful tales helped the people become people of memory and people of hope. People of memory because they understood that they were who they were because they knew their past. God made a promise to them through Sarah and Abraham, and God saved them from Egypt and became bonded with them in covenant partnership. They became people of hope, people who understood who they were because they knew their future. God will work with them to bless all the families on earth. Yahweh and the covenant people will bring shalom, manna society, to earth.